that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio
It's
station.
Love Jones. It's Love Jones. Check us out as we combine our hit music with a love story. Live with Candy. It's Love Jones.
Call in and participate at 326-0271 on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, Refugee Camp presents
For all relationships, for regrets, for disagreements, for breaking up and making up, for all those out there jonesing for love, it's Love Jones right here, right now on Global 99.5. Good morning.
You're so stupid.
All the time. I get that so often. I often wonder why. It's a marvelous Monday. You're tuned into the best mix of R&B music, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. We're Global 99.5 FM. Candy sitting in with you, as is Magic Mike, the Solid. And it's a brand new edition of Love Jones. So welcome back, everybody. Had a great weekend.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? So how was your Father's Day? Did you get any gifts?
No, man. Here's the thing. Before I give out the numbers and all of that, I'm going to say this. And I understand where single mothers are coming from, but I think that's a part of why the mentality is a little bit twisted. You know, I saw so many memes saying, you know, Happy Father's Day for the moms that are doing both jobs and stuff like that. I get it. I get where you're coming from. Totally get where you're coming from, especially with my own situation. I understand, but I think that's where we get twisted. I don't think as mothers we could ever fill the position of dads. I think we do the best damn job we can. If you happen to be a single mom, if you happen to be a divorcee and you know the relationship isn't doing what it's supposed to do, whatever it is, I think you do the best. But I don't think that we could ever be.
Kids still look at.
They still need a father. I think
right.
That's the way it was designed to be. It's a reason why it takes the two of you to copulate in order for it to be a child to come from that. I think there's a reason that everything was designed that way. It's because it was a necessity. The fact that we've had to do it without, whether there are some fathers that are doing it without the mothers and vice versa, we've just made the best of a bad situation. But I mean, saying things such as that, I think that just gets us a little more comfortable and you know, twist the situation in which it doesn't really need to be. So I'm just going to say that. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of wails for that. And that's fine, but that's how I personally feel.
You're entitled to that.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Before we get started, it's 431-8497 is your text and WhatsApp. 326-0272 or 1 is your call in. And of course, you can email at verycoolcandy@yahoo as well as lovejonescrew@gmail. Like us on Facebook and become a friend of the Love Jones Crew. And of course, you can watch this video on YouTube later on. You can watch it on Global 995, as well as we'll post it on our Love Jones page. But of course, I want to say good morning to our Facebook viewers as per usual. They always have commentary now or later, but it always proves to be interesting for the conversation.
Was the last show
with Aaron?
No,
the one prior to that, or
yeah, the one with Aaron. Was it posted on Facebook?
Yeah, it was. It was.
For some reason, I can't find them.
Really?
Later. Yeah, I don't know.
She shared it a couple of times. Yeah, we had a lot of viewers on that.
Because I won't put it on my personal page.
Okay.
You know.
We'll make sure it's available.
Yeah, please.
So, interestingly enough, obviously, how was your Father's Day, by the way?
It was pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. I usually work Sundays, so this was a Sunday that I didn't have to work. So I enjoyed it. Yeah. So I actually got up and started cleaning. Mm-hmm. So I did a little shifting around, a little reorganizing the house, and you know.
Oh, you feel a little boost.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on.
That's that special something that y'all get on Father's Day. That special energy boost. That's what it was.
It's okay. And then we went out and got something to eat. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Got in a little basket. It was cool.
Is that the new fragrance I smell? Is that?
No, it's actually no. I haven't opened the basket yet.
I'm just checking.
No, I opened the basket
I'm just checking. The interesting part about it is, as the day wound down, I started to go into, because I got a lot of like WhatsApps that were from different numbers and stuff like that. And I went into my email, and there were quite a few people that were writing in reference to their Father's Day experience, and then I guess sitting down in that mode of thought and just realizing some stuff that they happen to be in and going through because of the relationship that they had with their father. Some was very delicate, others were very complicated, some was non-existent. Some people in their 40s are still struggling to have a semblance of a relationship with their father, of normalcy. And in struggling to do so, they're struggling to have a normal, quote unquote, relationship with their spouse or their girlfriend or their own children because of the remnants of the relationship, whatever it may or may not have been with their father. And, you know, trying to be someone that is eternally hopeful for relationships and love and all of it, I really was of the thought generally that for the most part, people were generally happy in their relationships and content, you know, for lack of a better word. But it just hit me like a ton of bricks yesterday that it seems to be an overwhelming amount of people that are in relationship situations or marriages that are not working, that they feel trapped in, that they know that there's something wrong, but have no understanding what's the next step on either how to improve or to release themselves from the situation. People are struggling with self-worth, value, how to love themselves, much less love someone else, how to be truly committed. I just read and read and read yesterday, and it was a bleak picture. And I hate to say that, but it truly was. And it really did upset me. I mean, it's nothing that I can personally reach in at every angle and do something about, but I'm just hoping that people are reaching out because they feel that there is value in the show and our willingness to go there in these situations, and they can find something that can truly be assistive with their own personal situations, right? For instance, you know, a woman said to me yesterday, she says, and we've heard that story before, but she was really open and honest about it. She says, I continuously find myself in relationships attracting or trying to delve into relationships with unavailable men, whether it's just emotionally or unavailable because they are in other relationships. They cannot provide what I need from them or want from them. I came to this connection a few weeks ago when my latest relationship called me damaged. He says that I am plain and simply unattainable. Is it any wonder that I have 3 kids with no fathers in sight, and none that are willing to have a even relationship with me where it's about co-parenting? I continually find myself seeking these men even after each and every time it fails. It's almost like I cannot help myself, and yet I see my children suffering because of the cycle that I'm working so hard to break, but find myself powerless to stop. You know, my kids are constantly asking me, what is wrong with us? Why we don't have fathers in our lives like other people?
Wow.
Exactly. And it wasn't just women. You know, there's another one that I read that where a man wrote in as well. And with this particular one, I think we've heard it before with women that continually seek men that are emotionally unavailable, or they can't.
What does that mean to be emotionally unavailable, though?
It has so many meanings, but she said it's not just that. She seems to constantly attract or seek out men that aren't available in a way that she needs or wants. And that's a man that is already in a relationship, a man that is already married and cannot possibly give the kind of time that she would need. So you're going into it with already a big hindrance to the relationship.
The question I have to ask is, what is your belief about relationship? What's your belief about marriage? You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I asked that is, you know, I read something the other day that said if you believe that 50% of marriages fail, it's most likely it's gonna happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Your belief system is so strong. You know, I believe that. I honestly believe your belief system has everything to do with how your life is gonna, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about the world, what you believe about family, friends. It has a lot to do with how you interact and how you live your life.
That's a really tough one, because, you know, I think in a lot of those situations,
and see, the
people want to be eternal optimists, and you want to say that if I have a good frame of mind, if I have a positive outlook, and I have a positive yearning for what happens next and what the end game is, then it would turn out that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Michael, the problem with that is, and I think you can, but the issue here is, I think that can be so if it's about personal goals and about personal choices and about personal pathways. I'm in agreement on those levels. But I think the issue here with that statement is, when you're in a coupling situation, you have far less control over what the other person's thoughts, feelings, perceptions, what their experiences of love, commitment, and relationships were, and what they currently are between the two of you. And that changes and morphs things. And whether you believe it or not, when you're in a coupling situation with someone else, a lot of those things rub off and become a part of your psyche.
Oh, and I understand that.
So that changes things. And you could say, well, if I only have control over me, then I will be as positive as I can be. I will do the work. But if it were that simple, we would have 100% rate most of the time of successful marriages and commitment if it only took the one person's positive thinking and drive. We both know that that's not the case. We both know you can put in 110, 150, and even 200%, and the person is giving much less. It will not work, or it will for a time, because you fool yourself into believing that your positivity is the only thing that matters. And unfortunately, it's not.
But Candy, here's the thing. So, I mean, in reading that, does she feel like she's a failure?
She feels as if she's failing her children, but she's saying it took that person saying that to her for her to really sit down and stop for a little bit and look over the patterns of the people that she continuously seeks out, has dated, has been in long-term relationships with. And the person said to her, yo, I don't know how people, you damaged. You got a problem, but you want someone to love you, but you ain't loving people. You want things that are unattainable. You want a perfect man. He does not exist, and you ain't perfect. Like, she went into the things that he said, and of course it was an argument. But then when he left, this was her last relationship.
And this
was a couple of weeks ago. And then she said, as hurtful as it was for someone to say that, she said she actually sat down and she really thought about the kinds of people. Like, it would be a man that's totally single, a man that could give time, the man that could take her out, and the man that is possibly interested in getting to know her as well as the children. She'd bypass him and she'd go for a man that has a girlfriend, a man that cannot spend the kind of time because he's married.
So who's to blame for that, Candy?
It is she's owning it now. She didn't before.
Okay.
She didn't realize. She just figured, I really can't give nobody.
Here's the thing. What is she believing about herself? What is she believing? I mean,
well, she said, to be honest,
there's some fear there. There's some fear that there's something triggering why there's some triggers that's going on. Why she doesn't feel she can have somebody for herself. Why she feels she has to have someone else's man or whatever.
And here's where the cycle comes in, right? She says that her mother was with a man for umpteen years that was married, but he came there, he ate, he drank, he played with her as well as her brother, and he was an integral part of their life. He taught her how to drive her first vehicle.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He, when possible, he came to the school functions, and if possible, he helped with homework when he was there, but he was she found later on in life that he was a married man, so he could only give into the household when it was possible. He wasn't there all the time, but that was the best semblance of normalcy that she had because her own father was never there. So it was always seeking out that attention and saying, well, if you can get all, then some, and if the sum is really, really good, it's better than nothing at all.
Right.
And we'd like to think, honestly, the kinds of things that happen like that, and as they become a part of your experience when you're growing up, it imprints itself on you emotionally, psychologically. It just has the deepest impact that most people don't even realize the patterns that they are in or why they select the people that they've selected as their mate. A lot of it has to do with what you've experienced prior. And unfortunately,
I get that.
Childhood, we make funny jokes. Well, what did your mama do? Why are you so? But real talk, it has a lot to do with that kind of stuff.
I think, and it goes for me. And I'm not saying this because my life is some hunky dory. No, I have my challenges, relationship, work, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We recognize what needs to be done, but we just don't do it. Like we know, at some point, even before this, she knew
there was something
wrong.
Yeah.
So why not make the conscious choice to change it? You know what I'm saying? If you know so, I get that. I get that. We have the capacity, and we could do it. We're just afraid to do it because we're so comfortable being here, because we've been in this situation. Be it we grew up in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
We're so comfortable being in that situation. To go to another situation which is unknown,
right?
We're afraid of that.
But we've talked about that. Most people would prefer to live in the muck of it all, not because they're happy there, not by any stretch of it, but it's because at least they know what it is. They're accustomed to it. They know the lay of the land. They know their role as far as that's concerned. And so they play the part. Moving out of that into something else that could very possibly be more healthy, happier for all parties concerned. And in her case, for herself as well as her children. I'm not sure of what's over there though. So I make the best of this. That's one scenario that many people play every day. And then there's another where you know that there's something wrong. You know that there is something off, but you don't know what it is. So with most human beings, you need to identify with some accuracy what it is before you go about the business of changing it. That's what it is. It's like when you're sick. You know that there's something wrong with you, but you're not sure. And either you'll take something like antibiotics that fights the full range of anything from cough or cold to an infection, or you just wait for the problem to get so bad until it forces you to go to the doctor. And mind you could have gone and you could have assessed the situation way before it got to that.
And that's a perfect analogy. And the reason why I say it is because we're not afraid. We're afraid to be true to ourselves. And just like when I say be true to ourselves, just like the analogy you use with the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
you'll feel a pain. Somewhere you could call a friend and say, listen, I need some antibiotics. I don't know what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to go to the doctor to find out
exactly
what is wrong with you.
Then it becomes reality.
Right.
Then it becomes something that you need to do something about it. With calling up a friend and say, hey, you have any antibiotics or you got any painkiller or whatever, or something, let me just dull that and hope that it goes away. We do that all the time.
Yes, we do. And that's the same thing with our relationships, with work, with everything, our financial, everything. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you, I've learned that if you want an answer, you have to look inside yourself. You have all the answers you need for yourself. But we're so accustomed to going outside of ourselves, looking to friends, family, this person, that person. When you have everything you need within inside yourself, it only takes time and it takes work.
I agree.
I understand sometimes you got the trusted person that you need to talk to, but in the end, that person could tell you, but in the end, you still have to do that work for yourself.
Let me ask you a question.
And that's what we have to do.
Let me ask you an honest question. Do you feel as if every person has the strength, emotional wise, or the mental capacity to get beyond a situation?
I think so. I think everybody, it just takes, The problem is our conditioning. The problem is our conditioning has so much, the way we dealt with problems in the past. But everybody, I feel, has the capacity to get beyond it.
If that's the
We're
case,
just so accustomed to.
why do we say things like, that thing that would kill me would roll off of your back? There are people that, there are different standards, and there shouldn't be. Do you understand what I'm saying? There should not be. And I don't know if it's fair to say every human being has the same makeup that allows certain things to be. I think that the possibilities are there, and you have to dig deep, you have to scrape. And then some people, for instance, some people go to counselors, some people go to psychiatrists and things of that sort, because there are different clicks and misses with us all. Some more deeply and more expansive than other people. And the outside source is what gives you the tools that you need, that you can put a handle on the things that you grapple with every single day. Some people will be able to sit, for instance, if you have an addiction to cigarettes or to drinking, there are some people that battle with those things until they die. Right. And then some people that get up one morning and say they've been drinking and smoking all their lives. And some people that just get up one morning and say, you know what? Today's that day. I'm going to cut cold turkey.
It's a mindset, Candy.
I'm going to cut cold turkey.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You know, we trick ourselves to be dependent on.
Is it a mindset
things.
or a set of minds?
It's a mind. Well,
that's different. You're like, wait a minute.
You catch me off guard.
No, I totally understand. And I'm not saying that I get what it is that you're saying, but I don't want anybody to be listening today and get to a place where, and I think we do get to those spaces where I'm weak, or I have failed because I'm not able to do as John has done, as Mary has done. I haven't been able to surpass the things that ails, and therefore I'm weak, and you get stuck in this place. We all have been conditioned, some of us very similarly, some of us very different. You will hear of people that have been through trauma, or they've been emotionally scarred, and they will be on that side of the spectrum where they're unable to get up and deal with life. And then there are others, because of that, that is the thing that drives them towards doing better and being better.
And you saying that, I believe every single person on this earth is capable of living the life that they want.
I think I look at it like knives. I think we're all knives, and then sometimes you have the inner things to sharpen oneself, and sometimes you have to be able to go to someone else, whether it is a therapist, whether it is other things that you need to, in order to assist you in sharpening. You're going to have to at some point draw from within yourself, because there'll be a point when there's no one there. But sometimes we need those assistive tools in order to help us. For some people it's books, for some people it's self-help, for some people it's programming as far as TV is concerned, for some people it's just listening to the show. There's so many different markers that you can pick up from, and you have to be able to draw from those things. But I think this in particularly, as far as she's concerned, I think that she's still in a better place than a lot of people, because she's recognized whatever jolted her into it.
Right.
She now has recognized that there is an issue, what the issue could be possibly tied to, realizing how that cycle is playing its way into her present. And now she's in the space, now what to do. Now what to do. And I think a lot of people get there, even after it's trouble finding out what it is. So now that you identify that there's something, and even better yet, now that you know what it is, some people get stuck in that place right there. Okay, now what? Okay, now that I know, then now what do I do with it?
We know. We always know what to do. Don't ask me what to
do.
We always know what to do. We always know. And that's to say, we're just afraid to face the truth. That's all it is. We know what we have to do. We're in a bad situation. We know what we have to do. In a bad relationship, we know what we have to do.
Okay. Someone says, Candy, you can only grow at the level that you were taught. In a way, that's interesting, but guess what? Okay.
You only can grow at the level that you were taught.
Boy, listen, at least that's your starter place. Is it not? We can agree with that.
Right.
That's your starter place.
Right.
When we talk about being taught, and I think that goes hand in hand with conditioning. Can we agree on that?
Definitely.
What we're taught has a lot to do with how we are conditioned, and then how we further condition ourselves, and how we in turn condition our children. That's how the cycle is created. People can only, and that's what I say, you know, I understand what you're saying, but I always use that particular analogy when it comes to when you ask me about what does it mean to be emotionally unavailable. I always use that inference of, you may love me dearly, and I ask of you, I say, Mike, give me a quarter out your pocket. And you say, wait, Ken, you know I love you like that. But I only got a penny, but I'll give that to you. Now, to me, knowing who you are, the translation of you giving me the penny, that is equivalent to the quarter. Even though the quarter is what I needed, it's still equivalent because I know that you've given me everything that you have. But does that mean that my need for the quarter now no longer exists? What I need still costs to 25 cents. I'm still 24 cents short, even though you've given me everything that you have. Your pockets are empty, but you only had the 1 cent to give. Is that any different than had you given the quarter and still had 50 cents jingling in your pocket?
That's a tough one.
It is. But do you understand when you're involved with someone, and that's what makes relationships so tough. When you're involved with someone, and that doesn't necessarily mean an intimate partner. When we talk about a parental figure, like I make references to my mother, you know, she and I had an interesting relationship. We were very close, and at the same token, very distant. I loved her more than words could say, and yet I had some deep-rooted resentment as far as she was concerned. It was weird. I had to reckon with myself that she was who she was. She gave me the 20. She gave me the 1 cent, but I needed a quarter. So I made the choice that I would love her for the penny that she gave and not hate her for the 24 cents that she was short. Now, in a situation such as a parent, when that's all that you have, that's different. But when you talk about being involved with a mate, will you suffice for the 1 cent, which is their everything, but you're unfulfilled because they're 24 cents short? Do you see when you break things down?
I understand that. I understand, and to me, it goes right back to we to me we just gotta, and I understand it, and wow, and to make it, and I want to sugarcoat it, but I don't know.
You can't.
I don't know how to sugarcoat it.
Just say it.
Can be responsible for our happiness. That's just it. When I say that, I mean I understand if people are people,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and people are just people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no sugarcoating that you involved with somebody. You know, if you rely on them to
you'd be in problems.
you'd be in problems.
I don't think it's
saying?
a sense of fulfillment. I understand what you're saying. We are all responsible for your happiness, and we're all responsible for our choices. Agreed. I don't disagree with any of that. The issue that we draw upon is, like the person said about being taught. If you're taught that this is what love looks like, this is what it feels like. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
that's
Candy,
what you
here's
know.
the thing. This always when it comes to love, there's always questions.
I
There's
agree,
always
but you
questions,
don't know different until you experience something more. Most people will say to you that they thought that they were in love. They had the love of their life. They've had the best that they had ever had until they have come upon something that introduced, conditioned, taught differently. The thing about that is, though, you don't know it until you experience something
And that's the
different
thing.
and new.
But here's the thing. We don't even have to, and we learn by experiences. Experience is the best teacher.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Apart from conditioning, we understand conditioning, right? So here's the thing. For church, right? I'm conditioned, or I've been conditioned to, and I'm Catholic. I was baptized Catholic.
Mhm.
So we go to church Sunday. I know how the mass is gonna go. I got to a point where I could literally say the whole mass.
Mhm.
Yeah, the whole thing. But there's some certain things that I questioned within the Catholic Church. You see what I'm saying? And because of those questions, I started seeking out different avenues, I went to different churches. I started seeking out spirituality because of those questions. You see what I'm saying? Now I see the church, I see the Catholic Church in a whole different light. And whether I choose to go or not go, it's because of those questions, because I had those questions, and I went and I don't even know how to put it, but I'm just saying I chose to to have different experiences, if you see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And because of those experiences led me to where I am today. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. But the question still comes back, how can you fault someone for not being able to give you what they don't possess? That's the question that's been put forward.
How can you fault somebody
by WhatsApp for not being able to give you what they do not possess?
You can't fault somebody.
So what do? Do you choose to love someone?
It's your choice. You have to choose.
Exactly.
It's a choice.
Precisely.
It's a choice.
See, the thing here, and I think that is what, for me, makes the difference. Because we keep saying that people people have faults, people have shortcomings. We all have them as human beings, right? The thing is, what the choice is, what comes down to it for me is, are their faults and their shortcomings of a detriment to you? Or do they not provide the things that you need that will further accentuate your happiness? If the question is, see, and this is where it's somewhat of an oxymoron, right? Because if I ask you, does your wife make you happy? Are you happy in your marriage? That's an answer that I can get. But on the same token, the message still is, I cannot look for my wife nor my marriage to bring me happiness.
Right.
But is that not the point of being with someone, of choosing someone, that they will make you happy?
No, I understand that.
Not
I understand that.
your ultimate happiness.
Right.
That's the differentiation. Right. Not your ultimate happiness, but should bring you happiness.
Right. I mean, that's what love is all about.
And I do think that's the only differentiation. Don't look for someone to be your completion or the definitive of what makes you happy, but they should nonetheless make you happy. Some people understand where I'm going with this.
No, I understand.
A lot of people are in relationships because they have done what it is that you've said. And I'm not saying that's your advice. I'm just looking at it from a singular angle for a moment. A lot of people are in relationships because they've said, me, myself, I shall seek what makes me happy. I will be upon the pursuit of the things that I'm passionate about. I will educate myself of the world, of books, of things that are learned in every which way. I will do what makes me happy, right? And for that, I'm happy, I'm good. And I'm just okay with the relationship.
But here's the thing, being happy.
It has to work in duality.
Yeah, but being happy and being stupid is two different things.
Of course.
When I say that is, of course, you're responsible for your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a conversation that we were having when Alexis was here. And I think it was when Alexis was here. Or I heard something, and we were talking about relationships. And something came up about, I think it was a letter or something. And anyway, the reason why, what came up was the person had said that they're not happy in their relationship or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that was asked was, what did you allow
mm-hmm.
in the relationship? Well, my husband talks to me this way. Well, do you allow him to do that?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, and I think the message was you have to take responsibility for your part in the relationship. So if you choose to make yourself happy, but you're in a relationship that doesn't make you happy, that's still on you because you choose to stay there.
I'm not in disagreement. I'm just shining a light on it. And a lot of times people speak of unhappiness, but ask them what their contribution to the happiness of the relationship is, and they can't tell you.
Like verbal abuse.
People are looking for someone, though, won't feed them happiness. You have to contribute to your happiness as well as the happiness of your relationship as a complete entity yourself as well. We look to our partner to give and to feed when you have to understand that they are people as well. And a lot of times, most people, their first go-to is to be selfish, not selfless.
Oh yeah, that's yeah, especially today.
But that's the expectancy. Even though we know that to be the case, we still have an expectancy of selflessness.
And then we put the person on such a, I guess.
And then when they don't meet that, then we
feel like we failed.
Yes. We failed. When is it because I've asked for too much? Is what is it? We never say it is because of X, Y, or Z. So it is a rather complicated situation, but at the same token, like I said, I get where it is that she's coming from, but I can say that it works. Pros and cons to it. Like I said, I myself And I like to draw upon myself because I want people to understand I'm not just talking out of my behind. In a situation where I've always wanted to, and I don't care what anybody says, in the deep roots of themselves, if you had not had your father or your mother in your life, that's something that you've always, even if that's a truth that you only admit to yourself, you always will crave that, want that. And when you cannot or do not get it from the object of your affection, which is your mother or your father, the one that should give it to you, you seek it elsewhere. And a lot of times that's how you end up choosing being in or staying with someone that you've partnered with.
I had a situation the other day. I'm opening up a business, and one of the guys who was supposed to come work for me, I went to talk to him, and his mother was here, and I said, well, he was getting ready to go to his other job, right? I know he wants to leave his other job because he's not happy with the other job, so he wants to come work with me. So I went there to talk to him. Like I said, his mother was there. I said, listen, I want to talk to you. I know you're leaving now. We got to talk money. People don't like to talk money, but it's very important. If we're going to be doing something, if you're going to come working for me, I need to know where you stand as far as what you expect, as far as paying all that stuff. So his mother jumps in and says, I told you, you shouldn't trust everybody you come in contact with. And I'm right there. So I said, I just looked. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. So when he was leaving, his mom was like, you have bus money and all this stuff. Now this guy's like 24, 25 years old. Right. So when he's leaving, I was like, well, I'm leaving too. His mom's like, no, I'd like to talk to you. I said, fine, no problem. She was like, I'm his mother and he's not working with you. Wherever he's working, he's fine where he's at. So get it out your head. He's not working with you. I was like, well, nice to meet you too,
Right.
So I said, can I ask you a question? I said, he's expressed to me that he's not happy where he's working. I was like, he's young. I said, he's at the age now where he wants to discover what he wants to do in his life. Where he's working now, he's really not happy. She was like, now, I've already made the decision that he is going to stay. I was like, so what does he want? She literally said it does not matter
what he
wants. I couldn't believe that.
So I can almost bet you that it most definitely, how do you think that's going to impact now when he is seeking a mate? Either two things. He will seek out a woman that is overbearing, and it's what he'll be attracted to, but it will cause most definitely the most friction within his relationship. But he's accustomed to dealing with a woman that is hands-on, helicopter, overbearing, and it's what he's accustomed to. And so therefore, whether consciously or subconsciously, more than likely he will seek it out. We don't tend to realize that the way that we are and what we do is superlatively impactful to people around us, children being first and foremost. I'm going to tell you about this guy. Okay, if you're just now tuning in, this is Love Jones on Global 99.5. And we're just talking about the impact that relationships prior to or parental lack of, or the way that parents are, has a lot to do with who you choose to be with, how that impacts your children, their children. There's just a lot that goes along with it, right? So this guy says, he says, I am someone that had been used to my father literally shutting down and leave every single time that there was an argument or a disagreement within the household. When my mother would put question to him in any which way that he thought was a disrespect to his authority, that was a major problem. He either ran out or he bullied his way into having his own way. Breadwinner reigned supreme. I find myself in a situation right now where I am struggling because I realize the impact that those actions have had on me. It made me seek out women that were weaker than I. And I appreciated having to wield the iron fist, not literally, but he liked to be
control.
He liked to control. The decision is his. He always believed in working hard and making as much money as he could, because As far as he was concerned, the more money you make, the more bread you bring into the household, the more power you have. He is not to be questioned, or his power is not to be usurped. But he also realizes, in seeking out a woman that was weaker, he was also disgusted by the fact that he was allowed to run over her and then looked for someone that was stronger, and the cycle continued. And so he finds himself in that situation.
So he'd been in a serious relationship with someone who's weaker.
He would seek out a woman that was weaker, a woman that showed that she would speak out against. Oh, that was brushed to the side very quickly. And then once he had put his power over on the woman, and he realized that he was able to run over her, he didn't want her anymore. And the cycle continued. So it's just, but in his mind, as far as he's concerned, leading that back to what he saw in his childhood.
But here's the thing. I'm wondering if you think his father probably felt the same way?
Why, I just wonder. See, because
I'm pretty sure
we
his
hold
father
our
felt the
parents
same way,
accountable, right?
But
do we stop to think about how they became who they are?
Right. And the reason why I asked is because, it'll be a good idea for him to talk. I mean, if his father, talk to his father, because I am 100% sure that his father felt the same way. Just the fact that when he was able to run over his mother, he felt he didn't.
Fight or flight. And then when she challenged him, and if he wasn't getting to wield the iron fist, he would leave the household for a day or more.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And honestly, that's a common trait for a man, The
fight or flight.
Yeah, especially when we talk about when we have a disagreement with our significant other. You know what I'm saying? We already feel that we're the authoritative figure. You see what I'm saying? So anything that's questioned, we tend to I mean, and I do it sometimes, and I have to be conscious of it. My wife asks me something, I automatically get in defense mode, automatically. So when I do answer her, I answer her in a way that it puts her
up, and then she becomes defensive.
And she puts her in a defensive mode. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, remember, we talked about that crucial conversation, and
it's rough.
No, it is. It
is really hard. And some people didn't have challenges in their childhood, and they still face challenges on how to be communicative or how to express themselves with a viable mate or their children. It just isn't easy, and it's always going to take work.
Yeah. It's and the thing I'm thinking now, and I wanted to ask you a question. Through your relationship, have you identified things that you probably need to change within the relationship from past experiences?
Yeah.
Have you worked on it?
Currently working, always working.
Is it easy?
No. Interestingly enough, all of these things stirred up stuff for me yesterday as well. And that's why I was noticing chat, I wasn't saying anything.
Right. Does it stem from your beliefs? For what I understand conditioning and I understand experiences, but any of the challenges that you have in relationships, does any of the challenges stem from what you believe a relationship should be or should have been?
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's almost as if I am at war with myself.
Right. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm at war with myself because I find myself to be a strong personality, right? And I think anyone that knows me knows that. I have a strong personality, and not just along with a strong personality, I have a persona of being a very strong person, right? But there's a weak person. I wouldn't say beneath that, but I think we all have our breaking point.
You're human.
That's human, right?
Right.
And I have an expectancy of a man that is involved with me to I don't want to ask you to take the weight from me. I need you to realize and recognize when it becomes heavy. Understand what a great expectation that is. I am just understanding what a great expectation that is for any man. But I realize that it stems back from multiple things. I too had an absentee dad. He's alive and he's well. There's an acknowledgement, and yet he still is not there, has not been there, right? And so my determinants was, regardless of whatever happens, I will remain in whatever relationship, situation, marriage that I have children with, because I want them to have a present father. That did more harm than good.
Right. No, I get that.
That did more harm than good. With
because
leaving,
you sacrifice your soul, so to speak.
Because I meant that what I felt and that feeling of being tossed away, I would not impose that upon my children. Right. And yet I inflicted other things. So I took away one thing and I inflicted others. And so that's what I'm saying. You almost get to a point of damned if you do and damned if you don't. And that's a very, that's a delicate place to be in.
Do you believe, and I understand, and I don't mean all these questions, but it's just, yeah, I read a lot, and do you believe in intuition?
Yes.
What do you believe about intuition?
There's so many things. Intuitively, let me be honest. Intuitively, I already knew before I got into what I got into that wasn't the thing to get into. Okay. I knew that. Intuitively, I felt that within myself. And that's what we do as people.
Right.
But you still do it anyway. And I can admit that. That's a part of what I'm learning along the way to gain wisdom. And when that voice speaks to you and that intuition is there, take heed to it.
Because we ignore that.
We do. Because we ain't for that, boy. I don't want to hear what you say.
90% of the time, our intuition is telling us what we need to do.
And we don't want to.
And we don't want to do it because
we just want what we want when we want it and how we want it. Yeah. And we'll suffer the consequences later. But right now, though.
Right.
And that's what we do as human beings. And I have no problem with saying that. But I'm fighting hard to do better with that intuitively and putting intuition as well as the things that we've actually learned and coupling them in order to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Because, and I understand where she's coming from because I still fight it. I want to be I want to be the person that reigns in the relationship, but I also want to be the submissive. You can't have both. What you gonna do, right? What you gonna do? And it's very hard to break those habits. Very, very difficult to break those habits. And then when you get involved with someone that has their own set of challenges and putting all of those things together.
Right. And that's when you said about, you have your high expectations. And that's what I wanted to comment that. Don't forget now, this person has their own.
Precisely.
They have their own challenges they come into a relationship with, which is, and here's the thing. I mean, who's to say whose challenges are more, because
I may look at it like, you kidding me?
Right.
That's it. But to them, that is something so hard to surpass.
Right.
And some people, I've said the things that I need in relationships, and I've had some men say that ain't no big thing.
Right.
And then other men I say it to, like, girl, you want King Kong, eh? What you want too much? You understand what I'm saying? So it is about, and I think we all have expectations, and I think you have a right to have expectations, but just know that when you have them, you are in a position to either be let down, or you also have to put yourself in the position to be everything that you ask someone else to be as well, which is very difficult.
Yeah. So is it wise to go into a relationship with, should I use healthy expectations? And what are healthy expectations?
I do believe that there are such a thing as healthy expectations. I think you go into a committed relationship with a healthy expectation of fidelity. I think that's a healthy expectation. There are certain things that I think you have the right to desire or want within your relationship. And I think we have so many mixed messages that are out there where people tell you, no, you shouldn't have expectations. You should just kind of go with it, flow into it as a goddess. And
no. I mean,
but there are people that actually
there
will
are
tell you that.
There's a lot of mixed messages.
You shouldn't have any expectations. And I think that's BS. We all have that.
Yeah. Like I stopped reading books on fear. I've tried so many things, you know what I'm saying? And basically, what I do now is just you hear people say, or you hear books say, face the fear. You have people say, ignore the fear. You have, there's so many mixed messages, and basically, I just try to deal with it my own way. You know what I'm saying? So it's, and that's why I say you can read as much books as you want.
And you're still clueless at the end of it.
You can go see as much therapists as you want, much psychologists, psychiatrists, priests, whatever.
Life has to be lived.
has to be lived and has to live on your terms, and you have to just for your life.
I think you can get help along the way. There are definite tools
right
that will be for the betterment.
And that's what they are, tools. But we look at them as, should I say gospel?
That's the solving. That's what's going to solve.
Right.
When I watch Oprah, she can give me the answers.
There you go.
Super Soul Sunday can have exactly what I need. Whatever it is, no one thing, no one person can give you the answers that you need, because we've all been affected by life in different ways.
Yeah.
I can only impose upon you how it's affected me, the challenges and how I have overcome and still overcoming. You can only use that as a tool to possibly,
and that's all it is. And
not to mimic, because you and I are different. And it could be the very smallest difference that makes the biggest difference. And so life, there are certain things that cannot be changed, no matter your creed, no matter your color, your religious belief, your spiritual life has to be lived. Up until the point when either you take it or it is taken from you, it must be lived. If you live it laying in your bed every single day covered up, you still have to live it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we do wrong, and this is just my feelings, I think one of the things that we get wrong is we expect, and there goes the expectations again. We expect when we do things, we expect life to be this, this Disney fantasy. We don't expect like when we encounter a problem, we think it's the end of the world, and we look at it as a problem instead of an experience or something we could learn from. But we look at it as,
let me tell you something. For instance, I remember sitting on a porch in New Jersey quite a few years back, right? And for some stuff that my family was going through, I had missed the days that you were supposed to be over in order to graduate. You're not supposed to miss a certain amount of days or whatever. It's just like you got to pass PE. There's a certain amount of credits, whatever. And I remember having a conversation with my guidance counselor, and she said, look, you have all the grades and everything, but you've missed X amount of days, and so you won't be able to walk with your class. I look at her like, girl, if I smack you. And to me, that was like, woe is me and whatever. And she was like, well, you're gonna have to do like a summer school course or something like that in order to make up for the times that you've missed in order to put in for accreditation, blah blah blah, whatever. And I looking at her like, but what I can tell my people, and I started crying, and because it's this whole thing with walking with your class or whatever else like that. To me, that was the end of everything for me.
That's how we see it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Life finished.
Yeah,
I ready to pack it up. I done.
That's
I can just lay here and let a transit bus run over me. That's literally how I felt at like 17 or whatever. That's what I felt. And looking back at it, I was like, you so stupid. Right? But that was what it was for me. It was getting past that. But I look back at it now and knows that time in summer school, like I met this really cool dude. I ventured so many places that I wouldn't have gone. That was when I did skydiving. Some of the things that I would have never had experience had I had the experience that I thought was the ish.
Right.
Had I had it,
right.
I wouldn't have experienced so many other things that I look back so fondly and grateful for now.
And I think that's how we should look at all situations. I mean, be it whatever it is, even dare I say death, how we see death or how we see losing a loved one. You know what I'm saying? We think that it's
it.
That's it.
But it's a part of life.
Yeah.
It's a part of what has to be lived. And in life, there is death.
Mm-hmm.
There's disappointment. There is emotional issues. There are financial stuff. There's love. There's loss. All of these things is what make life worth living, though.
Yeah.
And I get where he is coming from, and I get where she is coming from, and it is a challenge. And the only thing that I can say, of course, I've had in-depth conversations with both sidewise, but I just wanted to give them as examples of the things that people are experiencing. Even when we're in relationships with people and we see that the way that they behave, you say damaged, you say broken, you say they are these things, but people, that's the part of the journey in which you have met them. There's still a ways to go. And we all have our demons that we face every day, some from past, some that have been recently created, but they're there nonetheless. I always love something that Aaron said. Being in love with someone and being with someone and making the choice to be with someone is not just loving their light, but also their darkness. But in making that choice, know that's what it is. You're making a choice. So if you choose that the light is not enough to surpass or equal out the darkness, then you have to choose to leave.
Right. You
have to choose to leave.
And it ain't gonna be easy. I mean, it's not gonna be easy.
It isn't.
And the thing is, we tend to, like it's I really love to read a lot, and I like to hear about challenges that people went through, and when you sit and how they overcome, and when you sit and even talking to Erin, like Erin is such an awesome lady. I hope she's listening, and listening to her story and the attitude she has today, it gives me so much hope. It gives me so much. I mean, like if she could do that,
then I can. But what I love about it is that's the story, and we could say, oh, that's a Disney story. Look at what happened, and she's overcome. She's still going through.
And that's the thing. That doesn't mean that her life is hunky-dory.
No! She's still going through. She still has the challenges of what she had to deal with her illness, as well as everyday life.
The kids.
And what she went through
relationships,
with her health, that don't give her a pass on everyday life.
There you go.
And we tend to think that. I used to think that, well, geez, I don't get sick with the sickness. You think I could get a pass on the rest of the stuff? No, you don't. Sorry about that.
No,
you gotta go through like everybody else.
Life has a way of just handing it to you. You know what I'm saying?
And so you gotta. What are you gonna eat? Are you gonna? And I think for some people, you say it's easier to say, but that's reality. Are you gonna lay down and die and let it run over you? Are you going to keep getting up because it's worth doing?
Yeah.
I think that there are awesome loves to be experienced, because we're out of time. There are awesome loves to be experienced. Yeah. It is. And I'm still in the position, even though love has whooped my behind.
Who hasn't? Come on. I have scars.
I swear it has whooped my behind, but I still would say every day, I still would rather love and lose than never to love at all. It's just that great. And I think it's that worth it. And that's what my nugget will be for the day. It's still worth it. You're still worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
You're still worth it. And I think human beings are still worth it, as crappy as people can be. I still believe in it, and I still believe it's worth it. So I'll just finish with that.
That's me. No, that's good. That's what it's all about.
So that does it for us today. I'm hoping that you experienced some thought-provoking things with our conversation. That does it for us. It was a pleasure being in your company, as it always is. We'll be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow to do it all over again, right here on the best mix of R&B music, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. This was Love Jones with Magic Mike, as well as Candy. Thank you to The Solid for making sure production goes smoothly. As always, enjoy the rest of this, your marvelous Monday. You've been listening to Love Jones,